Hey, everybody. I'm Will,
And I'm JC.
and you're listening to
Dude,
Sweet, Sweet Duties.
sweet, sweet
Is
dude.
that what we call our. I was just thinking about that the other day. We just call our listeners dudes or duties?
I kind of like duty. It kind of gives them like a sense of like they have a job, they have an obligation to listen.
Exactly. We put that on you guys now.
And speaking of obligation, I have a follow up for all the listeners who are very worried about, if they were going to see us or hear me or not, because again, had a civic obligation that I had to attend to.
Tell us about it.
Well, I literally got called into it was basically I got called into the courthouse. There was about 50 of us, and then we just sat there for half a day.
Doing nothing?
Yeah, doing absolutely nothing. And then, but it was like, I'll tell you what, it is like magical when like the judges appear. Like it is because they're in like their full judge garb, right? It is kind of like when you're at like an amusement park and all of a sudden like you do like here's the thing. If I go to Disney World, I know I'm going to see Donald Duck, right? Like that's not exciting. But then when you're there and you actually see Donald Duck,
It takes
like
your breath away.
it does take your breath away. You're like, "Oh, like like that was kind of how it was like when the judges actually like came in. Like we are like, "Oh, like
Do they? Do they dress kind of like they're at Hogwarts?
yeah, totally
That's
Hogwarts.
exciting.
Yeah, they're total Hogwarts garb. The whole, I mean, they don't wear like it's not like I think the Parliament in England. I think they still wear wigs, which is awesome. It's incredible. Like it's not quite there. I wish it would still be there. It's pretty awesome because like they're at least the ones that I had, they were very good at like first of all they thank you. Like they're like thank you for doing your civic duty. They make you feel really good
That's
about
nice.
yourself. You're like patting yourself. You're like you're right. I did do a lot driving here in the morning and getting an egg McMuffin and then going to the parking lot. Like I did a lot. And then they kind of explain to you what's going. They basically explain to you like there's a good chance they kind of prep you for the letdown. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's sort of like we've all had when we were dating, like you shoot your shot with that girl you knew you had no shot with. You know what I mean? It was kind of like they kind of like, listen, in this in this analogy, the trial's the hot girl that that like, but you're being prepped. She knows she's hot, and there's a good chance you really have no like. But hey, like I'll let you go on the date with me, but
There's a chance, yeah.
we're probably just gonna be friends. Basically, you get called in case they decide, hey, this is actually going to trial. Like more or less, it's like it's kind of a crazy concept. It's like it almost is like, are both sides serious about this? Okay, let's gear up and actually show up. And then they're like, oh shoot, people are here. Let's not do this. Like that's literally like kind of how it goes. Like, oh, I thought you were kidding. Oh, I thought you were kidding. It's like a game of chicken, basically, between both sides. And then you show up, and then they talk it out more or less. I think more times than not, that's actually what ends up happening. And then another judge comes in, and she was a sassy judge. She was the judge of my dreams. Like she was that.
You want a sassy judge?
Oh, she was funny and sassy, and like she would have had inside jokes with the bailiff. I was like, oh my god, this is my dream. My dream judge just walked in here, and then she broke my little juror heart, and told us that they had settled.
So is this just one day? This is just one day.
One day, and then they're gonna pay me for my 1 day of work. Do you know what my pay is for 1 day of work as a juror?
$8,000.
You got close with the 8. It's $9.
9 as in no zeros?
Yeah, $9. It's $9, and then I think I get like a couple quarters for like gas. Apparently, it hasn't been updated since like 1955.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, the jester's nice and all, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Get half a sandwich?
You could essentially get 4 little breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's. Alas, I don't have some dramatic story. Here's here's actually a pretty funny story. So, my mother-in-law, Colleen Russo, sweetheart of a woman, she was called in to be a juror, and no joke, like the trial involved French bulldogs. I'm not. I maybe it was like French bulldog theft, and of course I have a couple of French bulldogs. So like she had to excuse herself and like be like, I can't be a juror in this trial because my grand dogs are French bulldogs.
Is that legit?
Well, like, I guess in her eyes, anything that would have been, she had a relationship with the breed of dog, and she felt like she could not be a fit juror because of her relationship with French bulldogs. So she, like, in front of everybody was like, Yana,
She would have had a better and easier time getting off for saying she feels sneezy, like her allergies are flaring up.
I'm telling you, well, evidently the judge did feel like it was a good excuse, and I think my mother-in-law is also like a woman full of conviction, so I'm sure she like pulled out pictures of her French bulldogs. She literally has. I love you, Colleen, if you're listening. She literally carries like 4x6 photos around, and she has like them like laminated in the.
Yeah.
So I'm sure she like pulled those. She was like, and like whipped them out. I was like, look at my French bulldog grandchildren. Look how cute they are. I'm not fit to stand, Jerry.
I guess if you have 50 people out there, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, well, she wasn't fit for the draft, the jury draft. So, but anyway, I say all that to say, like, at least, like, I didn't get, like, weeded out. Because I'd feel really bad if I got weeded out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If my combine numbers didn't come back high enough, my 40 time and my...
What would you have been, like, insecure about? Like, was that not pretty enough? Or, like...
Yeah!
Did I not wear a good outfit? Did I choose the wrong outfit?
Oh, yeah, I would have overthought everything, no doubt. Like I do in every instance in life. You always do. It would be a very sad drive home where I was just like sitting there like,
How do they pick you? Do they walk along and like eyeball you and be like, that looks like a good guy? Like,
yes.
You're just sitting there brooding.
Yes. Twirl. Twirl.
What if you twirl just involuntarily?
I don't know why, but that just makes me think of Will Ferrell's Magatu, like from Zoolander, like looking and just being, no, yes, I don't like your size, no. Farty with a foamy latte, and he just spits it in the guy's face. For all our listeners,
real quick, I want to revisit something real quick.
Yes.
We were talking about, you mentioned British judges wear like the gowns and the the wigs and stuff.
I think it's a parliament.
Well, I was just thinking about like you see the is it beef eaters? Is that what they're called?
I think beef eaters is the name for that gin, right?
If you Google beef eaters, it's those guys at the Buckingham Palace who wear like the big Q-tip, like bushy, like it looks like they...
I think they're just called like royal guards. I think you just call them royal guards. I don't think you call them the beef eaters.
Google beef eaters. They're the first thing that come up. I didn't come up with it.
No, that makes me nervous putting beef eaters in. I don't know what... Sounds like a derogatory term that could... Or derogatory or like a very questionable like... What's this in your search history? Beef eaters?
It's no joke. This is the definition of why they call it beef eater. Due to their mighty stature and hearty daily duty ration, which include large portion of beef.
Well, that is like the most British. Like, oh, he was a beef eater. Yeah, you know what? That boy looked like he could be a beef eater.
Oh my God! Do you think he's a salad eater? No!
No,
He eats beef.
no, he's not fit. He's not fit to be a guard. He's got to eat more beef. He's got to eat more beef.
So, but what I'm wondering is, the original design of that outfit, do you think like they were like, okay, we're about to go to war here. Let's design the most intimidating, like aerodynamic, like best outfit we can design. And this turd comes back with his hat and goes, "Say no more. Check out this hat." And it looks like,
You see, I would love the designer to be like, you see, when I designed it, I thought, what's more horrifying in war than a large black hat?
Google like British soldiers. They look like playing cards. They're insane.
And again, I think it's just the Royal Guards. I don't think, like, they're not sending, like, these guys into Afghanistan. You know what I mean? They're not. That would be insane. Can you imagine, like, that going on in the Middle East? Like, they're just like,
You've got a sniper and he's always adjusting his hat.
it's like 125 degrees. They have it, like, the red outfits and the big black hats, and they're just, oi, no. I'll tell you what, mate, I don't think this is very smart, these outfits.
To all of our British listeners, and we know you're out there, I mean, come on. It's not intimidating. It's not. The strap doesn't even go on their chin. It goes on their upper lip.
It does feel a little bit like a child designed it, or like they let like one of the royals' children like design what these outfits, and he's like, "Daddy, I want the strap to be like on the nose. I don't even want to fit on the chin. I want to be on the nose. It is, Daddy, I want to be red.
It needs to be fuzzy, Daddy.
Daddy, it's not fuzzy enough. It's not fuzzy. Make it more fuzzy, Daddy. They're not gonna want to get near our palace if they got fuzzy hats.
And they have to eat beef.
Big beefy man." That's kind of a weird child, actually. Now that I don't know what that child is. I have a candy that I love, and it's pretty much primarily in England, and I'll go out my way to like order it. But they're called wine gums. They don't taste like wine at all. They're like fruit chew candies. I think they're delicious, but that's the stupidest ass name I've ever heard in my life. It's like, again, it's like, well, what are we gonna call them? I don't know. What do we call them? Wine gums. Like, what? It's fruit. It doesn't make any sense. It's like fruit candy for children, and they call it wine gums. Feels like it's more of an England thing. They're like, I don't care if it makes no sense. Let's keep calling it that.
Everything that they name is always so cute. It's like Jammy Dodgers and Hobnobs, and
Jammy Dodgers.
There's a cookie there called Jammy Dodgers, and they're really popular.
Dude, you ever watch the Great British Baking Show?
All the time, baby.
I love that show because it is ASMR. Like, I watch that show and it like lulls me to sleep. And they're so nice. Like, they're just so stupid nice the whole time. You're like, and like the stakes never seem that high. Like,
no,
it's sort of the best because like the highs and the lows are so like regulated. It's wonderful.
American cooking shows, like they're like, okay, guys, we're gonna make a cooking show designed to raise people's blood pressure. And like Great British Baking Show is like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's like a nice magnesium pill that calms you down.
Yeah, they'll show butterflies like in that tent thing that they erect, and then they're like, seriously, the biggest deal is like they get a handshake from that handsome man with blue eyes, like
Paul Hollywood.
They get the handshake, and like that's like, and they're like, oh my goodness, he shook my hand, and like that's the high right there, and then the low's like, I'm so sorry, Margaret, you got to go home, but you made a lot of friends.
You know what I love on that show? What they call everybody Love. I wish people would call me Love. Yeah, This podcast, we should call each other Love. Hey, Love.
Hello, love. Speaking of cooking, because what better transition than this? I was.
Are you cooking?
Do I cook? I wouldn't call what I do cooking. It's
We make bowls of cereal.
it's a lot of making bowls of cereal. I guess like I kept thinking maybe this is a generational thing. I kept thinking at some point like my palate would change. I love cereal. I love Lunchables. I love macaroni and cheese. I still love those things and think they're like, that's what I want to eat. I thought something was supposed to hit me at some point where like all I wanted to eat was like, then like steak
Caviar.
and yeah, caviar and adult like, like I want to bake chicken and I need the potatoes and like that, but like just like
I feel that way about whiskey. I thought as I get older, I'm gonna be a cool guy that has whiskey, like a little glass of whiskey, and I like it. Still tastes like gasoline to me.
It's terrible.
It's gross.
I say this with a full bar behind me, but yes, it's terrible.
You still drink your alcohol like you're drinking it for the first time.
Yes,
by the way,
yeah.
When you drink liquor, everyone who knows you who is listening to this is like, yes, he does. You'll take a sip and you'll go.
Ugh, I make the face. Like
Still have the face.
The worst is like I went to this really nice event in New York City. Like I went to like a very high end wine cellar, and like I always think to myself like I have no business being at any of these things that like I find myself getting invited to. I'm like, what am I doing here? But I got invited to this work event, and it was in a wine cellar, and like we had like a wine tasting, and the whole time I was just like, oh my God, just pretend like I can taste the difference and do not make a face because like seriously, I make faces outside of like drinking like my favorite drinks are like lemonade
White Claw.
and White Claw. I love those. They're the best. Like they're like great. Yeah, it's I have the palate of an 8-year-old, and I still do.
That's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just take me. Like if they dropped me someplace, they're like, you can only eat from Dollar Tree. I'd be fine. I really would be. It's okay. I'd be okay.
Actually, my family, Jordan and my oldest son, they love the Dollar General. They go there all the time.
It's awesome. Listen, I also enjoy Whole Foods, but like if some judge-esque character appeared and was like, you are sentenced to only eating $1, I'd be okay.
I'd be okay.
Fine. In fact, secretly, I'd be really happy.
I'm almost the opposite of you. This is where you and I are different. I'm better now, but I used to have a Whole Foods problem.
You were addicted to Whole Foods. You know what? I'm really glad we're talking this out because you had a Whole Foods addiction 45 minutes across town.
The last time I came to Philadelphia, I flew in, I got a rental car, because you're always too lazy to pick me up.
That's true. This is true.
Every single time, by the way. Many times you'll be like, I'm just going to pay for your Uber. But this time I was like, I'm just going to get a car. I got a car. I'm headed to your place. It's probably like, a 30-minute drive, 40-minute drive?
Yeah, 30 minutes from the airport.
And I was like, I'm going to stop at Whole Foods. And you text me like, dude, where are you at? Like, you've been landed for a while, right? And I said, yeah, I had to make a stop. And you just said, are you at Whole Foods?
And did you realize at that moment you had a problem? When I knew where you were?
I was a little embarrassed to tell you yes.
Oh.
But I was, in fact, at Whole Foods.
Like, were you thinking about making up some, like, plan? Like, no, I'm at the Italian market in South Philadelphia getting your favorite breads and meats.
I'm at Goodwill. How dare you? I'm donating stuff.
You just land in Philadelphia and go straight to Goodwill and start giving away the clothes that you flew in with?
I was feeling blessed.
Bless up, bro. I felt very blessed. That feels like a youth pastor we used to have. Like, I felt the Lord saying, donate the clothes that I packed 3 hours beforehand and give it away.
Speaking of youth pastor, I'm not going to say names here. And I know you remember this. You and I talk about this occasionally. But one time we were in 8th grade. Do you know what I'm about to say?
I think I know where you're going. Keep going.
We had a youth pastor. I will not say who it is. We had many youth pastors growing up. But one of them, he had just gotten married. And he was on the older side. But when he came back from his honeymoon, he got really emotional. He's talking about his marriage and how grateful he was. And then he started talking about how emotional it was to lose his virginity.
He was talking about doing the deed in front of a bunch of eighth graders.
And we were like, do you really want to share this?
Listen, I'm really happy for you, and we're happy that you have these feelings. But you gotta, at some point, you gotta read the room. And a room full of, this is not the mature audience that, listen, I saw Billy over there kept sticking his finger through his fly like it was his wiener a couple minutes ago during the prayer. I really don't think you want to share, like, what you're saying. It's very intimate, and I appreciate it, but this doesn't need to be shared with a bunch of 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Do you think there's a stigma around, like, when we were growing up, the mark of the youth pastor was a goatee? Every youth pastor had a goatee. I don't think you were legally allowed to be a youth pastor if you didn't have a goatee.
It was the goatee, and it was like the Weezer.
Oh yeah, the black frame
Buddy
glasses.
the Buddy Holly black frame glasses, which then
I once had a youth pastor. I was hanging out with some friends, like we were at like a retreat, and the youth pastor came up to me and my friends, and he just goes, "Hey guys, what's up with the what's up?" And I think he was trying to make up some new slang, like make it sound cool. It was like one of those exchanges where the looks on our faces made him go like, "Yeah, that didn't work at all."
He was like practicing in the mirror. He's like, "What's up with the what's up?" Like that. They'll think I'm really cool. So, as I'm on a little fun employment break right now, I troll the Craigslist to see if there's like, some part-time work that I can do as I'm exploring my next move, just in the interim. And I came upon a couple of weeks ago something that caught my eye, and I'm going to read it out loud for everyone. And I really want to get your thoughts on it, and I can also tell you a little bit about the interaction I had with the individual last time I had reached out about this. But I believe it's the exact same ad. It's under the gigs portion in the greater Philadelphia area. It reads, "Looking for folks who know how to wrestle or fight. No training necessary. Also open to spectators and referees. Send your age, height, weight, and experience texts are preferred." And it's a number. That's it.
So I've known about this ad for a while because you've told me about this ad like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and you texted this guy. Tell us what he said.
I was like, because how could you not be interested in this? First off, paid wrestling matches or fighting in Philly. But the thing that I think,
I love that there's a distinction. Like, I'll watch the fake stuff. I'll watch the real stuff. I just need it.
I need it, and I need it live. And I also have to know the height and the weight. This is like the location you always see, like in Craigslist, they kind of hone in on like a mile radius. It doesn't give you the exact address of who were but like this is coming from Philly. So they're conducting fights, like unsanctioned wrestling matches or fights. Like I just got to see the setup in like one of these like tiny road homes, wherever it is. But I reached out to this individual to just get more intel and to be like, hey, listen, I'm game to be a spectator and I am game to be a referee. I think I could be a referee. I think I could figure that out.
What if it's just like what I'm getting from this is like someone just wants to see two people fighting in his or her backyard, like just
or house. They may not even have a backyard. A lot of buildings in Philly don't have backyards. It could literally be like he's sitting on the couch, or They're sitting on the couch and just watching these people fight or go at it. But there's a huge distinction. To your point, there's a huge distinction between fighting and wrestling. They're very different things. And like the end result is like you either go to the hospital with like concussions or die if it's a fight. Like there's a reason at bars like they break up fights because like it doesn't typically end well. But again, it's just hysterical. So I reached out and kind of was like joking, like, "Hey, like, you know, like I'm interested." And then they were like, "What's your height and weight?" Like literally, it was like a robot response, like, "What is your height and weight?" And I was like, "Hold on, big fella. I'm more interested in the, you know, that's what." And I was like, "I'm a little old. I'm a dad, so I'm a little old to be a wrestler, but I'm interested in refereeing. This sounds like a lot of fun." I said something to that extent or something like that. No response. Completely ghosted. I think like that's the more concerning part because like I was totally like, "Hey, I think this is fun, right, buddy?" And like I think their immediate response was like, "Oh, this person is not taking this serious. I am cutting them. I'm. If you don't think my wrestling / fighting that I want to see in my house and or backyard and or in the streets is serious, I'm getting you out of here." Like that's the vibe I got.
Here's what we need to do. You need to give me that ad. I will text them, and I will be someone who's on the other end of the spectrum, like maybe taking it a little too seriously, and text and say, "I'm having a craving for the taste of blood. Tell me when and where."
What if you're like, "I lay every night before I lay my head down, before I go to sleep, I dream to wrestle and or fight."
Text them and just say, "I'm ready to have someone pay for their sins." Like, just get real dark.
Listen, it's been forwarded to you. Go ahead, have a ball. Report back to the listeners. I'm all about it.
I mean, if you say you want fighters, you got to be attracting some level of like insane human beings, right?
The fact that you're posting this, Will, you are out of your freaking mind. If you are posting, somebody is sitting there saying wrestling matches or fighting. Like I need that. And like again, like there's no humor in this post. It is very like, I need your height, I need your weight. Like I'm kind of open to spectators and maybe a referee. Like I think again, I disqualified myself by being like, "Hey, buddy, like we're having a good time." Like, and he was like, "No, no, no, get out of my club." I thought this was a reasonable human being on the other end of this, but then why was I thinking that when you were to post on Craigslist, "I need wrestlers or fighters. Give me your height and age. Here's my phone number."
I'm going to tell this person I'm a 23-year-old male, and
how big are you? I want to know how big you are. If you're going to make this the character up, like, you a big boy, little boy? What are we? It'd be funny if you were very tiny. It'd be funny if you were like a very, like, I'm 4'8", 310 pounds.
What if I just say that? What if I like overcompensate? I'm just saying I'm 4'8", but I'll bite the nuts off my enemies. Just let him know like you're serious.
Listen, my nickname was Plum in high school. I'm a little guy, but I'm rotund, but I can fight. I'm a biter. A fighter.
So the guy just ignored you?
Again, he ghosted me. Here it is. I found the text.
Okay, read to us.
"What's the deal with wrestling? Saw the ad on Craigslist," which again is a very reasonable text to send to somebody who's posting about wrestling and fighting. This was me to this individual. So again, I approach it with a little bit of too much how I'd normally talk to somebody like that, right? "Hey, dude, looking for opponents. What's your age, height, weight, and experience?" Haha, nah, bro. Probably too old. Feel like I'd be a better ref. Would this be pro wrestling style or actual fighting? Like, I'm trying to get into like the meat of what he's trying to do, and then he just cut me off.
Little quick update. I took that number just to see if what came up when I searched the number. Two things came up that are concerning. First thing, so it shows there's links for two different other Craigslist ads that are no longer live, but you can kind of see that there used to be an ad.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, same number, is for wrestling/fighting in Louisville, Kentucky. And it says, looking for folks who know how to wrestle or fight. No training necessary. Also open to spectators and referees. Send your age, height,
So same ad. Okay.
for Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
The second ad that comes up under the same, with the same phone number posted, is Nutball/Rochambeau/other games in Boston.
What is this person run? This person is running some sort of a
Fight club.
a fight club where they fight, wrestle, and or kick people in the nuts and for competition. Will, you have to do what I didn't do. And listen, I'm telling you right now, and listeners of the Dude podcast, if Will can connect with this individual, I'm saying we do a GoFundMe and we get you a flight to wherever this is going on, buddy. And you may have to take one for the team.
I'm willing to do that.
Can you imagine like being at the airport with like your kids around you? You're like kissing them, like, Daddy, where are you going?
Son, I got to fight. Maybe even do a little Rochambeau or wrestling. I'm not sure, but Daddy's got to do this for the pod.
You know how there was all those like Sylvester Stallone, like there was that movie Over the Top that like came out in like the 80s. It was an arm wrestling movie, a dramatic arm. We need to remake like a dramatic movie like that, but it's about Rochambeauing. Like some working trucker. Oh no, I used to be good. I used to be the best there was at Rochambeau, but I hung it up a long time ago. And like there's that like girlfriend who's like, that was the reason that I first was attracted to you, and you gave it up. You have a gift. You have a gift, Johnny. You have to go back to Rochambeau. I told you, I don't do that anymore.
Is Rochambeau a thing? Is that? I mean, are there like Rochambeauers out there?
Rochambeau is one of those middle school things that just like would appear as like a, hey, you want a Rochambeau for that? But no one ever really did it. Like kick each other in the nuts till you I don't know, get that prize or get that calculator or whatever the heck you're talking about in middle school. But like the funny thing is like Rochambeau is internationally known just because it's one of those often discussed topics in middle school. Like, of course it were to come up. Like, you know, like once you hit puberty, you talk about, you know, girls and rock and roll and rap and Rochambeau. You know, it's naturally what you do.
We did plenty of talking about rock and roll back in the day, for sure.
I sounded so old when I said that. Like, yeah, but yeah, well, you need to do that investigative journalism. You need to leave your family for the entertainment of this highly, highly watched, listened to podcast for the dudes, for the Doodies out there. It's your duty to do this for the Doodies.
Last time.
So we don't have any sponsors yet for our pod, and most likely if we keep pumping out the same content we're pumping out, I don't know if we ever will get one, but you know, people can dream. So we don't have any sponsors. So at this point, we are creating our own sponsors. So last time Will created he used AI to create a sponsor for some sort of tea, mushroom tea that he liked. So I used AI to write for a upcoming film that's out, and I want Will to read what the AI wrote. This is for like an advertisement. If we had an actual advertisement on our pod, I want Will to read it. It's for a new movie that has just come out. But I also want Will to try to understand what did I potentially type into AI to get this style.
What kind of voice? Tell me what kind of voice you made to read this in.
Give it like a dramatic movie voice, like you're like, you know, one of those coming this summer, or like this
I
is
definitely
what.
had that voice.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Thank God you wrote this for me.
Yeah, I did.
All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
In the bustling town of Barrington, where the air is filled with the sounds of paws tapping and balls bouncing, there lived a spirited young bear named Zinda. Zinda wasn't like the other bears in town. She had a passion that burned brighter than the sun on a summer day. Basketball. One day, as Zinda walked past Barrington basketball court, she couldn't help but notice the cheers and excitement coming from within. Determined to join in on the fun, Zinda grabbed a basketball and stepped onto the court. But to her surprise, the other bears laughed and shook their heads. Basketball is not for girls, they said, their words like heavy cloud blocking the sun. Undeterred, Zinda stood tall and declared,
I may be a girl, but I've got game.
with each dribble, each pass, each shot, Zinda showed the town of Barrington what she was made of. She dribbled circles around the doubters, soared through the air like a shooting star, and made baskets with precision of a master painter. And as the days passed, Zinda's talent shone brighter than ever before, inspiring other bears, both young and old, to pick up a basketball and join her on court. And so, in the heartwarming tale of Challengers, starring Zendaya as Zenda, we learn that no matter who you are or where you come from, with determination and a little bit of courage, anything is possible. So lace up your sneakers and get ready to cheer for Zenda as she takes on the ultimate challenge. Breaking down barriers, one basket at a time.
Man, that's incredible. I will say this. Well, first of all, what do you think the prompt was? Like that I put in there.
I honest to God don't know.
Okay.
Is it Airbud?
No.
Did you type in like the Airbud?
No, and actually this makes me feel better about the fact that AI, there's this risk of AI taking over the world. AI is a bunch of idiots.
It sucks. Yeah.
So I put in, there's this new movie called Challengers has Zendaya in it. It's about tennis. It's not about basketball. So that's weird in and of itself.
Yeah, that's where I was confused. I was definitely confused.
Yeah, so it assumed basketball. I don't know why it did that. It just inserted that in and of itself. The other thing I did was give me a movie preview. Like, give me a movie preview. That didn't read like a movie preview. It read like a summary. And then a movie preview, but written in the style of Bernstein Bears. Yeah,
I didn't catch that part.
I mean, other than like the like, there's some weird bear references early on, and then we like lose the bear references. Like it's kind of funny. It's almost like AI forgot what it was doing midway through, very much like a human. Which is, maybe that's the more concerning part. It's like, oh, AI's stupid like us. Like, it forgot the theme that it was supposed to go with the entire time. But yeah, so it was Bernstein Bears Zendaya movie. And again, I think the movie Challengers is about, like, she's like a tennis coach who ends up like being like two of her students are like in love with her or something. It's like a love triangle.
It looks a little slutty.
Am
I making that up?
It does looks a little like, hey, these young kids, little. I'm doing like a De Niro face there. I'm catching myself like, these young kids, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna,
looks a little slutty.
Hey, it's a little slutty, a little bit of tennis, maybe more sex than tennis. I don't know. And then the problem is with De Niro. My De Niro everything always ends up turning into Trump. Yeah. So anyway. No, but that was the ad we have.
Great.
All right. Well, I think we have. Hopefully, there's something here that's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, we might find something in there.
Yep. Go in there and edit the hell out of this, Will.
I know.
Find the funny gold. Maybe there's some gold in there.
I need to suckle the teat of comedy. See if I can get some delicious comedic milk.
Like, get that wonderful, delicious dude milk.
Give our Doodies some dude milk.
We got to get these Doodies some dude milk. And this podcast supplies the Doodies with their milk. They're like baby birds. They're like baby birds, and we're just coughing the comedy into their mouths.
Well, sadly, that's our time. Doodies, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. If you see us in person, come kiss us on the lips.
Yeah, give us a big kiss on the lips. Also, subscribe, like the podcast, share the podcast. Do whatever you can to just promote the hell out of being a dude. And also feel free to write comments. Good comments, bad comments, whatever you like.
And just so everyone knows, we do have video portion of the conversation on Spotify. Obviously, Apple doesn't offer that. Eventually, when we have the energy, because we're tired dads, we'll put this on YouTube as well.
Yep. Awesome. All right, dudes. Have a great week.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, have a great week.
Bye, dudes.
Mwah.
Mwah.